Welcome to the Romans 911 Project podcast, where stepping into the reconnection in the one new man and the fullness of John 17 love and unity is becoming a reality. In each episode, join Grant Berry to drill down deeper into this reconnection and alignment message and the final reforms for the ecclesia, for the church. As we will discover, the reconnection becomes a power key to open the door to God's end-time plans, to help restore the family of God for the preparation of the bride, the last great harvest, and Israel's salvation, all of which will lead to the Lord's return. The reconnection message has end-time consequences for us all. Here's Grant.
If we want the fire, we have to reconnect the wire. Beloved, we have spent the last 80 plus podcasts introducing and promoting the reconnection message. This is a tie-in to Reconnection Mandate Directive number 1, where we would really understand this message and its significance during this day of Israel's awakening. We are going to make a transition now into the legs and a face. And what does that mean? Putting legs and a face to this message. There are many great books written about the one new man, introducing it to us, but little has been written to put flesh to this message. What will it look like in the church as the church and the messianic bodies come together, as the church in the nations come together with the believing body, the remnant of Israel in the land? And so I really hope that you enjoy these next conversations as we dialogue on what the reconnection is, what it will look like, adjustments and modifications to be made to the entire church, both here and in Israel, and then additional adjustments for those churches in the parts of the world that are connected to more heavily populated Jewish areas. So, beloved, I hope that you enjoy these podcasts, and just want to encourage you always to reach out to us with your questions and comments, and go on the Reconnecting Ministries website at romans911.org. May the God of Israel richly bless you. Lots of love to you in Yeshua. Beloved, we've been talking about the heart of this reconnection message. But I need you to understand something. And speaking from the Gentile part of the family, or towards the Gentile part of the family, we must also understand that without this spiritual reconnection, it's simply not possible for us to be able to carry out the role that God has for us during these days. The key here, first, is for us to recognize that there is a role for us to step into, which hopefully we've done in the many podcasts we've already done, all of which you can find on the Romans 911 website. And also, if you read the Romans 911 book, this is a comprehensive study book addressing all of these issues. And I want to also encourage you, if you haven't done it yet, take the Reconnection Romans 911 study guide video teaching series. It's an alpha type course. We have an abbreviated version that is free on the website. We do encourage you to buy the study guide, which will really help you with your notes and as you go through the study. But you will find it transformative, bringing you deeper into understanding, especially the significance of this message. Beloved, it's only in the Father's love and Spirit that we will be able to achieve his plans to love Israel and the Jewish people as God does, so that his mercy, there's that word again we've been talking about, so that his mercy flows through us to win them back to faith. We've already witnessed the works of our own humanity from the church's horrible past towards the Jewish people. So nothing short of this will do. And as I've written, the reconnection is a merciful transaction in God's plans and purposes for the end to come through believing Jew and believing Gentile to be restored. Beloved, it is foundational to John 17. It's the power equation to help bring reconciliation in racial areas. There's a power source because it's at the center. The Father needs to restore the firstborn, and we need to partner with him for that to take place. So there's a role now that we must and need to recognize, to enter into, to engage in helping the Father to bring salvation and life back to the Jewish people. It is the very fulfillment of the end of the Apostle Paul's dissertation in Romans 11 about the church and how his mercy will be poured out on all of us. And through the reconnection, the full blessings and love flow from the Gentile branches of the olive tree, not only to bless the re-emerging Jewish branches. Beloved, we've got to get away from being romantic towards Israel. We have to understand that the Orthodox and religious Jews and the secular Jews, in a sense, are under their own replacement or following their own replacement. The only true and proper extension of Judaism is the new covenant that Yeshua brought to us. And there is a remnant now moving back towards that, and we need to come into partnership with that remnant of Israel and that remnant in the church to bring life back to Israel and to respect and honor their identity and various expressions of faith as messianic believers. And this has been a challenge for us up to this point, because we've always tried to make everyone like us. But in this time of restoration, especially between Jew and Gentile, we must have love and liberty. And we've addressed that in the previous podcasts. This will only go to fully strengthen and support the Jewish branches. That's the messianic body, to help strengthen them. Don't we owe it to them? Doesn't it say that in Corinthians? That because of what they gave us, that we owe it back to them? Well, there are Jewish believers. These are our brothers and sisters. But we have part of the church that is wanting to connect more with unsaved Israel and have nothing to do with Jewish believers. But beloved, that goes against Scripture in the sense that 1 Corinthians 12 talks about taking care of the body first. And so it's really important for Christians to embrace Jewish believers and not to get them to follow all Gentile type practices, but to encourage them into their identity. And this is where this is a significant point we need to learn here. When Paul spoke about there being no Jew Gentile, he was referring to our equality in the Spirit, not to negate the identity that the Lord established with the Jews, and then the identity that has been, and the traditions that are now established in the church. And there is freedom and liberty to move into both, but to honor and respect one another. And this is part of the love equation the Lord is calling us into at this time. But beloved, it will also release greater power on us, shifting and realigning back to the principle of the gospel to the Jew first, will only empower the gospel to the nations. You see, the church for so long, taking on Israel's call to be a light to the nations, quite rightly, but then looking at Romans 11 and thinking that, well, when we come into the full number of Gentiles, then Israel's going to get saved. It's almost like, well, let's focus on the Gentiles and then God's going to deal with Israel. But that is not how the gospel reads. It's not how Jesus acted. He came only actually to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And look, Paul always went to Israel first, even when he said in Acts, now I'm just going to go to the Gentiles. Just look at the next couple of chapters. Look where he is again, going back to the Jewish people, wanting to reach them always with the gospel. And look what he suffered as a result. But this is a power equation to the fullness of the gospel, because as we've mentioned in so many of these podcasts before, the Lord has to restore John 17 love and unity for the greater glory and the power to come upon us. And the Apostle Paul fully understood this principle and greatly encouraged the emerging ecclesia, the emerging church, to give back to the remnant of Israel, which brought them spiritual life through Yeshua. And the same is also true from the Jewish believing perspective. That's the Israel's remnant that Paul talks about in Romans 11, verses 1 to 6, where we fully spiritually embrace our Gentile believing brothers and sisters as our own family and respect their identity and various expressions of faith. Beloved, it works both ways. Both sides of both parts of the olive tree can flow freely with the love and liberty we now have in Jesus. This is to our Father's glory, as the Messianic apostles did before us. The goal is that even with all of our differences as Jews and Gentiles in the faith, we would truly become one in the Spirit of God, just as the Father and the Son are one with us. Next time, beloved, we're going to look in more detail at this love and liberty. So until that time, may the God of Israel richly bless you. Lots of love in Yeshua.
Thank you, Grant, for that insightful discussion. To dialogue with Grant and Hallie, please send comments and questions to email@romans911.org. Again, that's email@romans911.org. If you resonate with the Romans 911 Project, please pray about partnering with us to bring this reconnection message to the threshold of the church. Sign up for our monthly email. Join our global virtual meetings with other believers to dialogue and pray together. And most important, read the Romans 911 book, Time to Sound the Alarm, and view the Romans 911 Study Guide 12 to 14-hour video teachings, which are free when you purchase the study guide. The Romans 911 books and teachings are transformational into God's end-time plans to prepare the bride and reform the church. They help to create the breakthrough that will change the world. The reconnection message is like a golden key from the heart of the Father to restore love and unity in God's family that opens the door to the fulfillment of Yeshua's prayer in John 17. And it establishes the pathway for the body of Messiah, the body of Christ, to receive the greater glory. But this reconnection message in the one new man has been hidden during the church age, in the mystery to reawaken Israel to faith, and is only just now coming to light. That's why we need your help to fund this project, to bring the message forth, to help us blow the holy shofar, to awaken the greater church into this restoration. Now is the time. Would you pray to give chai, to give life to the reconnection, to reach the church and the Messianic body, and help unite the family of God? To fund the Romans 911 project, we have created the Give Chai Life campaign. Chai is a Hebrew word meaning life, but it also represents the number 18. And for just one chai, $18 a month, you can make a difference. Please be prayerful about this. We can't do this without precious saints like yourself who are beginning to get this revelation to help us bring this message before the church. For more information on the Romans 911 project, please visit our website at romans911.org. It's easy to remember, romans911.org. Please also subscribe to the Romans 911 project wherever you listen to podcasts at the end.